Who doesn't like the smell and feel of leather? Looking to fulfill your custom leather needs? Well, as we say here in Jersey, I got a guy. Rob over at Ridgeway Leather Works is literally that guy. Several years back, I happened to be sat next to him at a mutual friend's wedding, and this dude told me more about leather than I ever thought I needed to know. His passion for his business is evident in the quality of his work. His team and his family can make all their needs. So whether you're looking for a radio strap, a radio holster, a pair of suspenders, a chin strap, a locker tag, or really anything leather related, Ridgeway's the place to go. So check them out at ridgewayleatherworks.com or on IG at Ridgeway Leatherworks. And tell them Pip from the Size Up sent you, and maybe you'll get a special Jersey treat in your package. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 39 of the Size Up by National Fire Radio. And this has been like the episode that didn't happen, couldn't happen. We're on our third time's a charm to make this one happen for a variety of reasons here with my guest. I even got, because of our technical difficulties, which we're going to talk about for sure, I got to have my live episode with Mrs. Pip that had a whole different type of technical difficulty on it. So the joys of everybody says, I want to run a podcast. I want to have a podcast. They said, do it. It'd be easy, they said. And all of those people lie. I'm here to tell you the truth that it's a lot of fun and I do love doing it, but it is definitely a lot of work that goes into this. And, without Jeremy, and definitely for Jeremy and myself and the entire National Fire Radio family, without Sebi in the background that I always like to throw the shot out to whenever I can, we would be lost. So that's the easy way to put it. And one of the things too, before I introduce my guest and multiple guests that I have today, as I'm looking at the screen here, but
hiding away in the back.
So awesome. The reason that I have this guest today is because my brother-in-law sent me a reel on Instagram, and my brother-in-law is like an Instagram lurker. Like, he has an account for his rugby club. He doesn't have a personal account, but he follows a lot of different things. So he sent my wife and I this reel that he put out, not even thinking I'd be like, yeah, this is like a great podcast guest for me. But it's one of these things that I always say it at the end, and maybe no one's listening. But if you're listening now in the beginning, because we're only in the first 2 minutes, please, we're hungry for guests at National Fire Radio, right? We want to find people out there doing different things, just like my guest today is, using social media for different reasons. Not just in the fire service and anything. So if you have anyone that you think would be an awesome guest on the podcast, an awesome conversation, by all means, shoot me a reel, shoot me anything, shoot me a message, tell them to message me. It's probably a little weird for someone to be like, hey, I want to be on your podcast. Cause I know I would feel weird if I asked someone like, can I be on your podcast?
Hey, we all know in this day and age, that's how it works, right? You just slide into the DMs, see what happens.
And that's how we met, Brett. So there you go. Right? I'd like to welcome my guest, Brett. And I should have probably asked you, but it's Brett Dugas. Is your last name?
Dugas. Yep.
So Brett, I slid into Brett's DMs a few weeks ago on his Instagram account, which is Laugh with Brett. And before we talk about the video that got sent to me, let me just jump back just here a minute, because Brett and I have been laughing together about this podcast. So we set it up, right? And we were ready to go.
2 weeks, right? 2 weeks now we've been working, trying to figure this out.
And Brett and I, we got on the podcast and he had some audio issues. So then I got to watch him tear his office apart in the background looking for headphones.
You were like, great, now I got this psycho on. Clearly he's got anger issues. He's going to destroy it before we even get talking about anything.
I felt like you ripped the closet door off at one point, but I didn't want to say anything that I was
close, right? Nothing like being on camera when you're completely losing it up here. Usually it's in privacy of just dogs watching and no one else. It's a little easier. I can hide it.
It was hysterical too to watch the video, or like watch you go through this, like digging through drawers. You're like, Jesus, I cleaned this place up. I must have thrown my headphones out. I don't know where they are.
And in this day and age where I'm like, how do we not have iPhone headphones in this house? You have everything else in the technology. I'm like, how do we not have one thing? And then I was like, well, clearly I'm not prepared. I had to buy like the gaming headphones, which I hopefully am rocking. Yeah.
They look really good on you. I mean, I've been rocking them now for a few weeks, like a DJ, or a few weeks.
Yeah, right.
A few months now, but they are really great. I don't use them for anything else but podcasting. Maybe if you want to go to the gym and put those on you would look cool. I don't know.
I look like I'm starting a mixtape like next week. I'm like my neighbors are gonna be like, oh, he's putting it out. The doggy mixtape 2023.
And the gaming headphones, because my son has them, they have the like the I'm a air traffic controller
Yes.
microphone on those ones there. So you don't have those. So you're not a gamer with those. The kids will make fun of you if you
And
try.
I almost ordered that, and I'm like, I'm gonna be on this first podcast ever, and they're gonna be like, look at this knob with his little microphone hanging out. Like, okay, buddy. I'm like, all right. Thankfully, we found the wireless one, so made
You're
it easier.
landing jets out there in Ohio.
Right.
So our first debacle was Brett had a sound issue and we
Hey,
couldn't make that happen. So
oh, you
there's
got CPIP. They're
girls,
already coming up. I
there's
know.
the
See, you
girls in
want
the
to say hi,
background.
Livia? You want to look up? Look, you're the real reason we're here, okay? Because you guys are so popular, not me.
So
Okay.
if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Brett's two German shepherds, Livia and Maya, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
And really they're the real reason that I think, well, kind of the real reason that Brett and I are talking in a way, probably the real reason he's successful on Instagram. But you said it yourself there.
It is. It has definitely been the beginning. They started it all, 100%. I'm like, I'm just like the editor of basically putting up my camera and filming dogs, and apparently people are very into dog videos. So it
Clearly
worked. It worked out nicely. I can't complain.
so it's awesome to have the girls in the background there. But then we tried for the second podcast, and now this was we're ready to go. And I had just recorded the day before with Tracy, and I go to turn my soundboard on and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like flipping it over. I'm trying to find a fuse. It turns out somehow my power cord died. So round two, I had to message Brett and be like, yo, this is my bad today. We can't
now
record.
we're now we're even, and
Now we're
then
even. Now we're even. And thank
right.
you, Amazon gods and your 1 day shipping. I mean, these people where I live, we have an Amazon warehouse less than a mile from my house.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
will say,
Same.
I will say there's a lot of traffic at shift change or going in and out of the warehouse because people have to work there. Like
Yeah.
it's not all robotic. We don't want it to be all robotic. It'll be
No.
like that's when the robots turn on you when they deliver your packages, probably.
Amen. It's happening
But
eventually.
I can get stuff in like a day. Sometimes I get things the same day. Like literally, I'll order it
Yes.
now and it'll be here in the afternoon.
Well, my girlfriend, I'm sure like everyone's girlfriends and wives, literally will be like, "Oh, we're missing garlic powder for dinner," and I'm like, "Okay, what are we? I'll run to the store." She goes, "Don't worry about it. Amazoned it." I'm like, "What do you mean you Amazoned it?" She's like, "It'll be here in 3 hours." I'm like, "How is that even possible?" You know, I mean, it's good, but I'm like, "That's really okay." I'm like, "I guess I won't go to Drug Mart then." Thanks, honey.
It is scary how quick they can be. And, I
Yes.
mean, these things, I mean, Amazon warehouses are everywhere now. And both being firefighters, I have not been to a fire inside of an Amazon warehouse yet. However, my department has gone mutual aid to two now in the past couple years. And they were like, yo, you got to see this place. Like, it is immense and just
Yes.
like a model of efficiency aside from when it's on fire.
Yes. They just knocked down an old cement plant in where I work part time in the city I live in, and built a huge Amazon store. And I haven't been on a full walkthrough, but I've been to the outside for a fire alarm, and you're just like, "What? It's like a city." I'm like, "It is so big, and it's just like you said. I think it's just um, shipping. You know, it's just bringing in and shipping out." I'm like,
Yeah, literally, the
"God
stuff
bless."
comes in and then they get it to you in a day, which is
Yeah,
unreal. So I got the power cord and I'm like, all right, cool. When are you free? Let's knock this out. So we decided to record now when we're recording. But lo and behold, yesterday, Brent
yeah,
almost took himself out and had to cancel the podcast again.
yeah. So this is embarrassing to say, but my girlfriend is sleeping. She's a nurse. Goose is a nurse, and I should say this by the way. If anyone hears Gusta throughout this, that's my girlfriend. She's from Lithuania. That's why it sounds super foreign. She's imported. You know, like they got German dogs and a Lithuanian girlfriend. So it's you'll see. You'll hear her name a lot. But she's a nurse, so she's working night shifts, and I'm out picking up walnuts, which is dreadful. You know, never ending process. And I
Wait,
legit
like real walnuts or like code for dog poop?
no black walnuts. We have a
Oh,
huge walnut tree, and it's just never ending in the fall. They're just the worst. Like you pick up 400, and then you hear 80 of them drop, and you're like, "Well, I should just slap myself. I'm done." And I go to pick something up, and I just cartoon step on a rake, hard rake, and blast myself in the face. And I'm sitting here in sunlight. You can't see it, but I mean, I take it, I'm like, I'm gonna have a black eye, my lips bleeding, the dogs, I'm cursing up a storm. My neighbors are probably like, oh, he's finally lost it. And I'm like, great. I go, now I'm gonna have to do this podcast with a black eye and a bloody lip. Like, I'm gonna have to make up something cooler than stepping on a damn rake, man. I'm like,
I told
it's
my
just
wife that
embarrassing.
story. I told my wife that story last night, and she's like, "Oh my God, is this guy like a comic? Like, is it like a cartoon? His life is like a cartoon? Because that only happens
Literally.
in the cartoons. Like, you step in
Yes.
the rake and it whacks you in the face.
And there's like, listen, I'm by no means some fighter, but you can't self-defense out of a rake, okay? I go, it's getting
It's
you,
just
it's
coming. It's
KO.
just coming.
Yes.
There's no way
And
to miss
just
it.
and like initially I was like, you don't even know what hit you. And I'm like, how did that actually happen right now? Like, and I was hoping Gusta was probably in bed. Like when I woke her up and told her first words were, oh my God, I wish I would have saw
I was gonna
that.
say
Like
you don't have outdoor cameras like everyone else in the world.
oh,
Like that would have been so.
yeah.
That would have been your number one viewed video
Oh,
on
yeah.
IG.
They'd be like, stupid dog guy finally gets what he deserves. Right to the face.
That
Oh,
would definitely wreck on Instagram.
and it's we got to talk. It's Friday the 13th, so I don't know if that's a positive or a negative to finally do this, but
Oh, I
weird
didn't even
timing.
think about that. Yeah, weird
Yeah.
timing. Thanks for like, I don't see, like, I don't necessarily go with all that. Like, I've been doing this emergency
I,
services thing, and like, yeah, weird stuff happens on full moons and Friday the
yes.
13th, but like, it's just another day, right?
It also happens on Tuesdays for no
Yeah.
reason at all, right? Like we
Tuesdays
know it
at
doesn't
1 o'clock
matter.
in the afternoon,
Yeah.
the weirdest call you'll ever go on could happen. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with a full moon. Like,
You decided to saw your foot off today? Oh, okay. It's a weird timing, ma'am, but okay, let's go with it. Whatever.
when I'm fortunate enough to be friends with Oliver Stark. He plays Buck on 911 on Fox. And
Okay.
part of the reason that I met him was because my boys were younger. This is like going back like 4 or 5 years, like the first season. We're like,
Okay.
Dad, you gotta watch this episode with us. We're gonna rewatch it again. It was a full moon episode, and you're never gonna believe what happens. And like, I'm like, all right, great. Let me watch this show with you. And it's this in this episode, Buck and his partner guy, they're on the ambulance and they get dispatched for a maternity, and it's in like a prenatal yoga class. And so
Okay.
they like come, rushing in with their EMS jump kits and things like that as a woman's in labor. And I'm like, oh, like five of these chicks are going into labor. And my
Yeah.
kids are like, how do you know that? What would you must have watched this? And I'm like, no, I figured out the stupid plot.
Because yeah, and that's how it would happen in real life, right? You'd be
Yeah,
some dumb luck like that.
it
Like,
would exactly be that. Like, yeah, you're in prenatal yoga class and everyone is having a baby, and you're like, I'm gonna deliver
yes.
this baby. I'm gonna deliver that baby. Like, and my boys are like, that's how it happens, and I'm like, no, that's not how it happens.
Yeah,
The
not
baby does
quite.
come out that
Yeah.
quick.
The shows don't do it justice, that's for sure.
No,
They
but Oliver's become a great friend and totally
yeah,
gets it all. Like he's
which
on
is awesome.
episode 6 or 7. If you go really back into the archives, we have a great conversation just about Hollywood and all that kind of
Oh,
fun
that's
stuff.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
it was a good time with him. But so as we babble on here, and like I'm the worst person at getting my guest backstory, but let's hear your backstory before the whole IG, two German shepherds and a Lithuanian girlfriend thing.
Before any social media stuff, just
Before any
cool.
social media
Yeah.
stuff. Remember, can you remember those days? Like before social media?
So it is weird. I'm 31, so I'm like on that verge of millennial type thing. I try not to associate with them. I feel like I'm slightly different, some tendencies, but I think I have a work ethic and some common sense. Sorry, everyone.
Minus
But
the rake thing.
yeah, right. Besides, oh, he steps on rakes from time to time. No big deal. But no, I was actually born in Canada. We live outside of Cleveland, Ohio, in a suburb. Grew up there, moved here. My mom met my stepdad, who's a retired cop. Moved up here. Uncle was a fireman in Canada. Became a fireman when I was 20, just before my 21st birthday. So about 12 years now. Became a fire medic and then got on part time where I live now in the village, and full time by 22. And then yeah, I was doing just that constantly. And then 2 years ago, suddenly you post one video and something takes off, and next thing you know, you're doing social media dog voiceovers on your time off.
Just like that. Wham. I feel
Yeah.
like for a lot of people too in and our community, I'm a little bit older than you, so I started a little bit earlier. Um, we didn't, when I started, there were very few places in Jersey where you could be a part-time firefighter medic, and
Right.
can't be firefighter medics here, but we had part-time fire jobs.
Yep.
Other places in the country have been doing that for a while, but I feel like there's so many people that I'm meeting now who they got hired part-time, and then that was like a good transition for them into the full-time world.
Oh yeah, like here in Northeast Ohio, there is, I'd say, 75% of the departments in the suburbs, not Cleveland or anything, are combo departments. So a lot of them, they pay well part-time. You can get on, you can get 30, 40 hours a week, work two fire jobs, you're getting full-time hours. And then whether that department turns into one or not, you get on somewhere else, and it just transitions pretty smooth in this area. So
Are there places that only have part-time employees, like no full-time staff?
yeah, there's some places, many around here, that they'll staff 4 or 5 guys, and it's 40, 50 part-timers. A city up the street called Seven Hills, I think they got like 60 part-timers or something, and they just never went full-time. They have a full-time chief, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
on the dollars and cents end, that's saving you benefits and pension.
yes,
On
yeah, and
on
it's
the other end, it's horrible to do that, but
right, yes, and especially when there was a city nearby that did the actual horrible laid off full timers, hired part timers. So you had a lot of guys. Then then you're really getting to a bad part where I got lucky where I work part time. Um, we don't take any. If there's sick time, overtime, full time guys get it. If it gets down to me, it's left over. They didn't want it, so there's no
okay.
stepping on toes, which is the right way to do it if it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see that that's a big hard part, and I know in Jersey that's a big thing because we don't have a lot of departments that are like that. We have all
Yes.
full-time departments. We have what we are starting to see though is like say a smaller town that's volunteer will put
Hmm.
career staffing on, and it'll be like their career staffing will be four, and
Okay.
then they'll use per diems, like you kind of said, like for vacations off, they'll use a per diem backfill.
Okay.
But for sick out or emergencies, so they have some kind of an overtime agreement in there. So it's not
Okay.
like they're
Stepping
necessarily
on toes.
exactly,
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
because that gets a little, it just gets a little fooky. Is an easy way to put
Yes.
it.
Right. You can understand why it would frustrate guys who are
Yeah.
losing out on dollars and cents. So
And when you
rightfully
see it too,
so.
like I came from the EMS world where we had more per diems than we had full time, and there was still
Yes.
plenty of open shifts and overtime mandos to go
Yes.
around with that many people. But EMS and fire, very different staffing type
Yes. Right.
model.
Especially when it's all, like you said, all fire, all medic, whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's
it was like every day you could work. I mean, literally, and I still think the organization that I used to work to has grown so much, but pretty much every day you could work if you wanted to.
yeah, which
Uh,
is crazy. It's nice when you have it, but man, this burns out, right? Real
yeah,
quick
and that's
in
it.
any spot.
When you're young, you don't realize what burnout is. And you'll see,
Yes.
'cause you're still
Yep.
young.
Well, that's what, even when I lived at home till I was 26. So about 5 or 6 years of full time, part time. And again, if anyone who knows me sees this, by no means would I'm working suburbs. It's not killing yourself with calls, but I did hustle. I worked, 80, 75 hours a week and just kept doing as much as I could because you had the opportunity to make money and get ahead. So I could put good money down on my house and all that. But then suddenly you buy a house, and even for me with no kids, just dogs, you're like, do I want to pick up that extra shift? Nah, man. Nah, I'm gonna sit at home. I'm good. Thank you. Like, you just get comfortable, right? Like, the money's nice, but your time is so valuable as you get older. And I imagine even more so with kids and wives and things of that nature.
Kids and wives. I only have one wife. I'm from New
I guess
Jersey.
what, yeah, right.
I can
I'm
only keep
sorry.
up with one wife.
I
Kids,
didn't
yes, one wife.
I went full Mormon on that one. I don't know why I added an S for no reason.
But you're right with that. But even and I think you mentioned this, when we talked before, but even in low key, smaller departments, you're not running fires every day, and we're not
Mhm.
up all night every night because my department is busy, but we're not super busy,
Yeah.
like how some other folks are. But just the mere fact of being there and being on that heightened alert mode that you should be on when you're at work, that
Right.
that
For
that
sure.
I am here to do a very specific task that I could possibly injure myself or others, that alone takes a toll on you, whether you're busy or
For
not,
sure.
adds to
Yep.
it. But
And especially the people who have no clue. It's always frustrating. I'm sure any fireman, probably police, military, whatever aspect, things like that. people are going to throw in their 2 cents. And, I think mainly with us because we get paid to sleep, right? That's what everyone's thinking.
Well,
We get
allegedly.
kind of, yeah, right. You kind of get shit on, so to speak, more. And I would just say to people who dare say anything like that, I'm like, do you have any idea what it's like? Even like you said, not a busy department. You get up maybe once a night. That one call is one disrupting your sleep horribly, statistically, and all the studies now terrible. And then, oh yeah, I'm in someone's basement and they're screaming because they fell down, they're unconscious, and you're just like, wait, I don't even. I just woke up like I was in a dream that I was not here. I was anywhere but here, and now boom. It's not normal. It's very abnormal for anyone who doesn't do it.
Yeah, that those up downs are just and I used to work straight nights and stay up all night, and that wasn't great for
Oh
that's not great for you either when you get into
no.
the cycle of how life goes. But like the up downs, and again, the fact that you have to be on, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm driving this very large
Yes.
vehicle out the bay and I've been asleep for a little bit and I have a lot of responsibility
Yes.
right now while I'm trying to
Right.
process all of this.
Yep. Or you get that, like, I'm sure we've all done it where you get in the squad, get in the engine and you drive and like literally I'll like realize like I don't even remember like the drive here. Like, what are we here for again? And you're like,
What's
Jesus,
that called? Or like
get
you
it
pull out and
get it together.
you're making a
Yeah.
right, and the officer is like, yo, it's to the left. And you're like, wait,
Ah,
where are we going?
yeah, right. Quick turnaround. I'm like, oh, but
And
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
I just had that happen, and the guys were laughing at me because I'm a guy who owns up to just about all my mistakes out that I make out there.
same here. Yeah.
And recently, I've been the acting deputy chief, and a few tours ago, I don't even know what time it was, but a call came in, and like I have to answer on the radio, and if it's a still alarm, say who's going, because that's
Mhm.
how we do kind of the chief dispatch for all the different companies.
Okay.
And I answered that I received the call, and I was just standing there, and I'm like, totally in a daze, like not processing what I'm supposed to
Yeah.
do next. And then I'm like, wait, where are they going? What? And then I'm like, can you give me cross streets like to
Yeah.
because like my delay, the only thing I
Yeah.
could
It's
think to
just
come out was if I have cross streets, maybe then I can just figure this out in my head. And they
yeah.
gave me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that'll be engine five. So like a shift or two later, something came up. I was like, you guys notice me the other night? And they're like, oh, dude, I was actually getting up to come and see if you had a seizure or something because there was such a delay. They're like, you're normal. I'm like, yo, I zoned, like totally
Yeah.
zoned out, just not ready for it.
And it doesn't matter who you are. That happens from time to time, no matter how many years on, and then of course the ball busting ensues from it, which is fair. And
Oh my God. Yeah. They were dying laughing when they were just like, they're like, oh my God, we figured something was up because it just wasn't you, like
yeah,
not how you answer these calls. But I'm like, yeah, that's what I did, man. That was my story. Sorry about that one.
yeah,
So,
I can deal with the ball busting too, because especially when the first social media stuff started, I,
oh, I can imagine.
I took the brunt of it initially from the beginning.
So were you always like the class clown, the comedian growing up, like the kid who your parents were like,
For
tell
sure.
jokes for all the friends that came over or something like that?
Yeah, I've definitely always there's one thing that I'll say about myself that I felt like I was good at was being quick-witted and just always having a comeback or, a good comment. And I always feel like I'm the guy in the room who can bring a laugh. I go, there's not many other things that I'm good at, but I knew I was good at that. So I was always like that. And I used to, when the Snapchat first came out, even that, like I'd send videos to my buddies and friends and just whatever it was, stupid shit. I'd record me just doing things and they'd be like, oh, that's really, really funny. And I'd like early on was like, man, I should like post stuff. And then you're worried because you're a fireman, so you're like, all right, well, I can't do anything too far, too edgy. So I kind of just stopped. And then, so it's 2 years, 2 years, roughly a week ago was the first
Oh,
video I posted. Yeah, weird timing. I just looked for this. It was like 10-3 at 21. And again, you said you don't know much about TikTok, right?
no,
Rightfully
I'm
so.
too
Right.
old for TikTok.
Yep.
Like I'm 45, soon to be 2 weeks, I'll be 45, too old for TikTok. 31, I'm not a millennial, but you really are. You know everything about TikTok, even my 13-year-old.
Yes. And what's funny about it is when TikTok first came out, it was nothing but chicks dancing, right? That's all it was. So like guys at the firehouse, like, we're mid 20s. I got buddies who are like, what are you doing? I'm on TikTok, dude. Like, what was that? And it's just like, Look at this hot
Dancing.
girl dancing, and it's like they're not looking at the dances, right? They're just like, next, wow, next, wow,
It was
okay,
better than swiping
yeah,
right at that point, probably,
right.
because you couldn't get busted doing anything wrong just
It-
looking at someone.
yeah, he's like, I like dancing. Ballet is my thing. Like they didn't have any. So guys would do that, but it was never anything more than that at the time. And then guys would start telling me, like a guy I worked with, super DIY, do it yourself, all that sort of blue collar guy. And he's like, yeah, my page is, fixing stuff and building stuff. And I'm like, oh, so now it like adapts to you. And it's, yeah, there's like funny dog stuff and all this. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm interested in that. So I was actually at the firehouse one night and I downloaded it. I was laying in bed. I have really bad insomnia like all the time, so I just don't sleep, partly probably because of the work. And
And because you're scrolling
so
on your phone, which is the
yeah,
worst thing you can do in
yes.
bed, as per all the, not a sleep expert, but as per all
Oh,
the sleep experts out there,
yes.
don't do that.
Yes, terrible, which is hard now because now I'm like, how many views did we get? Oh, those are rookie numbers. We got to step it up. But I'm laying in bed at work and I just happened, I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw a random video. So I scrolled through my phone and I found an old video of Maya when she was a puppy. And it was her dragging a mat across the house. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. So I just posted. I'm like, think nothing of it. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I'm like, the heck? I'm like, I got 250,000 views and 4,000 followers. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't even have like a username. I think I was still like user1278. I'm like, is that a lot? I don't know. So I go into my part-time spot, and the one kid I knew, Brian, there, his girlfriend had TikTok. I go, hey man, I go, how many views is like a lot on TikTok? He's like, right. Melissa once got 23,000 views. And I'm like, huh. I go, well, I put up a dog video last night and I go, I got like 800,000 now this morning and like 5,000 followers. He's, what? Are you kidding me? So he's like, let me see. I show him. He's like, dude, you're viral. I'm like, what? I don't even know. What does that mean? Am I contagious? Like, what is that? You're viral, dude. You broke it. Sure enough, a
Broke the
couple
internet.
days. Yeah, I'm like, a couple days goes by. We get like 3.2 million views and I have like 8,000 followers or something.
All
So I'm
on the
like,
one video of her moving that mat around.
one video got like 15,000 reshares. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, well, I'll throw up a few more, just old ones I had in my phone, just Maya as a puppy. And we had just gotten Livia like 2 months earlier. So I just threw up two more old puppy videos. Those ones got a couple 100,000. Now I got like 12, 15,000 followers. I'm like, all right, well, I'm always with my dogs. Like I've always been a dog person. Like the one thing that I'll say is anyone who knows me, and I think what you see on my content, it's me. Like it's just me being genuine. I'm not trying to fake nothing. I love my dogs. I'm hanging out with them, talking dumb stuff off my head, and next you know, it turned into all right. Let's keep posting stuff, and we're getting offered, you know, not necessarily money at the time, but it was,
Dog food, toys.
yeah, dog food. Yep, treats. We got hooked up with a crate company where we were selling crates for them and stuff. So it just kind of like slowly progressed, and now 2 years later, we're sitting with, you know, able to make some money and substantial followers and doing something we love. So it's turned into something very cool.
It's so crazy how just that one night you're like, let me try this. Let me see what, because like everybody
Literally,
puts things on the wall to see what stick, and so few of us actually get something to stick that
right?
well,
Yes,
right?
and
And
that's.
good.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, good.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, and it's crazy because you see so many people who they might have that one video, but then that's it, right? They had one good video, and I was always like that. I'm like, oh man, maybe I'm just like that. And as things progress, it turned into okay, I figure out what people like. I know this now, and I just kept doing things that they seem to laugh at or get views, so to speak.
With the dogs, no less. Which
Yeah,
again
right.
is, I don't know. I mean, I have a dog. You know, you've seen her on the video. She
Yes,
can't be here right now because she's so effing annoying when I try to do a Zoom or a podcast or anything. She wants to be like the star of it. So if I posted that, it would probably be like me fighting her right now, and people would
right.
look. Is what you're telling me, as opposed to your celebrities that are
Yeah.
just like
See,
out in the background.
everyone thinks they're a lot of energy, but at the same time they crash easily. But
Well,
yeah,
because
you're
those
right.
are puppies too, though. So all puppy, right? 2 years old they are.
No, 4 and 3, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
still puppies, so to speak. Lots of energy, but yeah, they crash hard, which is nice.
Yeah, no, mine is just an 8-year-old pain in the ass who, my family insisted we needed a dog, and she's mine.
Right.
Like, I'm like, how did this happen again? This is our third dog. And we figured with the boys, they were way young. I mean, 8 years ago, Finn was whatever he was, good Lord, 5, 6 when we got her. And no, she's still my dog. I'm like, I
Yep.
spend the least amount of time here and she's still my dog.
Oh yeah. But that connection, man, there's nothing better, right? I mean,
I'm a dog
almost
person. They almost had me for a second one during the pandemic when it was like, oh my God, we can't leave our house and we need to get a
yes.
new dog. Like everybody got pandemic animals. And I'm like, no, I pick up dog crap. No one else picks up the dog. Oh no, we'll do it. I'm like, do it for a week. And
Yeah, right.
no one did it.
Yeah. We're
Right.
gonna double the turd volume here just by getting another one. Who's gonna sign
Exactly.
up for that?
Which
Yes.
too isn't, and you have two dogs. I had before we have so Clarice is a pit Dalmatian for anybody who's never seen her on my social media, which is an interesting combination because the Dalmatians are just so stubborn, and she is the stubbornest, hard-headed. Mm.
Want to say it? Want to say
I love her
it?
to death. I love my doggy to death. But God, is she stubborn, man.
Yep.
But, we had boxers before that. And listen, when you have one, adding another one isn't really that big of a deal, aside from more money
Yes.
in food and more poop to pick up.
Yeah.
What do I say?
Besides that, I say it was the best decision we made because now we have an acre of property. So they are on an invisible fence. We put them out and it's like, have a blast. I'll look out my window. They're chasing each other. We still go out and play fetch with them and stuff like that. But I'm like, they get all their exercise together. And that's a blessing. So
Yeah, hopefully my kids don't listen to this part, but we're still not getting another one because Clarice is getting old now.
see,
So we're good.
see, Dog Life with Brett said we should get another one, Dad. I think we should. He looks
Dad, he's got
happy.
millions of views on TikTok.
Yeah.
You should follow him. Like, look, ha ha ha. Yeah, this is my life. Like, and I'm sure you get this now because look, I've been moderately successful on social media, right? No way in anything like you have with any video that I've been involved in, even with half naked girls working out, has not gotten that many views. Like, because they weren't looking at me, they were looking at them.
Right.
I'm sure you have become some type of like a dog whisperer on social media, right?
So yeah, like we've had connected with a lot of cool people and stuff, and a lot of German Shepherd people. But that's kind of how the video you saw came about. The dog came to the fire station. Was I was on shift, and the cops. If anyone doesn't know, that I put up a video. Basically, it was a stray dog or a lost dog that the cops took in the city I work at, and the one cop comes over, and of course I came out of we're living in a trailer right now, I should say that our station's getting renovated, so we're like 8 miling it in a trailer behind this. Yeah,
It's coming for
it's
me. We're
yeah,
literally the plans were just
doing the
made.
same thing.
We don't know. There's a lot of us, right? So my house is a double house with the deputy,
Hmm.
and we just hired more people. So now sometimes we're even a triple house with a rescue in service. And like we can't go in a you know how many trailers we need a trailer park to make this happen.
Yes,
With this
right.
14 people sometimes are in my station living there for 24 hours. I'm like, we can't have no,
No,
you can't
it's
have that little room. The little bump out with 4 bunk beds for 4 grown men is not going to work. So
and
we're
no matter how much you like your shift mates, you're gonna hate them with stuff. We're
there,
all like
there's
just
nowhere to go. There's nowhere
right.
to go. You're in each other's face all the time.
Yeah, and God forbid when you are trying to sleep, someone wakes up to pee at 4 a.m., slams the door, and you're like, you know,
Takes the whole trailer, like, or there's
yeah,
some dick on his phone all night, like
yeah.
doing his TikToking away, like
Well, I will say that at least me as a young mid millennial, whatever you want to say, I at least know the volume control. I think every guy at the fire station has the old man who's just sitting there and it's like full blast Fox News or whatever, and you're like, Jesus, dude, like down a little bit, huh? What?
you literally just
Down,
like cast that guy, and that is the truth. He
right?
exists in every firehouse, like full
Everyone,
floor,
yeah.
Fox News all the time on their
Yeah.
phone. Like,
You see this shit? You see?
what
You're
they're
like, all
doing
right,
again? Oh, dude,
yeah,
like it's so funny too because again, and this happens in all culture societies or whatever, and
yeah,
it's been a topic on the big show on the National Fire Radio show of like, oh, all these kids and their phones and all they are is on their phones and put them down during dinner and this that. Man, I can walk into any one of my stations, and whether you're the 3 month kid who's straddled to the floor watch desk or
yeah,
you're the 28-year veteran, there it is. You're doing it, man. They're on their
right,
phones. Everybody's
yeah,
on their phones.
yeah.
My father's 85 years old, and he is sitting there like trying to scroll on his phone unsuccessfully, but he does it, and that's what he's doing. It's just the way life is these days, right?
Said I had a new match on Tinder. Is that good? Oh, two matches.
He's
And that,
don't tell him about that. He's going to Uber, so I'm working on Uber with him to get him some rides places. So we don't need Tinder, man, just Uber.
I'm Ubering my my Tinder date to my house with a DoorDash burger. No big deal.
I do appreciate his podcast listens though, because it's one more download for the podcast. So,
Yeah,
Dad, I appreciate that I taught you how to listen to the
shout
podcast.
out, Dad.
Yeah,
Tinder for everyone. I don't
but
judge.
that's it, right? It's a whole
Yeah,
new ball game of this thing that I mean, look, again, a little older than you, but the first one of these I got, my parents were like, "You're getting this because you have a car and you
yes.
only use it in an emergency." And like, sure shit, like 3 months into having my license, I hit someone and I'm like, oh, I gotta call my parents.
It's time.
It was the
And
worst phone call ever.
and you're right that it doesn't affect age. Again, the younger crowd is worse, but like you said, you walk into the fire station, we'll be sitting there and we'll yell at each other. I work with a couple close friends who are my age, and like we like, dude, finally settle down at the end of the night. Oh, let's watch a movie, dude. Let's put something on. And then no phones. Well, we gotta look at each other. Put them down, dude. No wives, no girlfriend, no TikTok and Brett. I'm like, I'm the only one getting yelled at for that. Like, don't worry about your views. And it's hard. As sad as it is, it's the truth. We're just stuck to it.
It is. I mean, this thing lights up. I mean, even now while we're doing it, my thing's lighting up, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably not important. I'm busy doing this, but it's still there, right? It's in
yeah,
my periphery. But there's so much good that can come out of it too, and I think that goes back to your social media and too that I know is a big part of your page is that positive message, or just
yep,
I don't want to say that you're out there making a positive message. You're just having fun. You're just making
yes.
people laugh.
And that's my biggest thing when I started it. It started to take off, and again, it's 95% the dog stuff and bringing laughs that way. But I've had a few videos where I just put up me ranting a joke and gotten 700, 600,000 views. So I like to throw in that stuff too, and just anything that again can bring, as lame as it sounds, relief. Because I'm like, I look at social media, like you said, it can be the best thing in the world and it can be terrible. I mean, even dog videos, Pep, you would the hate that I've gotten on dog videos, believe it or not, just like people like they'll see a video and like Maya has her ear down and she's like, "Oh, I bet you he kicks the dog in the ribs on the weekend, looks abused to me," and I'm like, what? I'll be like, look at my videos. What are you talking about abusing my dogs? Or they'll just, I put up a video once, they were both in my yard, and they were simultaneously taking a dump. And I just put up some video. I'm like, this is dog people's dream, right? Like, we're getting this done early. Life is good. Someone comments, multiple people, I should say, why didn't you pick up the dog poop, man? I'm like, it was in my yard. Like,
It's
what are
my
you talking
yard.
about? They're like, still, you should pick it up, be a better person. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, man. I'll pick it up on Tuesdays for you if that's better.
I
Like,
swear you should have your next video should have been like, and here's for all the people that need to see this and picking up
yes,
the dog poop. Like I'm actually doing it.
and that's the hard part. I've been the same way since I was a kid, where as much as I will open my mouth very quickly and speak my mind, usually for 98% of the time for someone else, but in the right and good. But I'm also the first person to apologize when I screw up or I do something stupid. But that with social media is tough because I've legit, hand of the Bible, I've been to the other room and post a video that's just started to take off, and someone will leave some stupid comment. And before I can type back, my girlfriend looks at everything. She's always reading comments. She goes, Brett, what? Don't do it. I'm like, huh? Nothing. Don't do it. I'm like, no, no, she's gonna get it. Don't. I mean, she just
It's
knows that
so not
it's
worth
hard not.
engaging. Yeah, it's hard
Yes.
not to, but it's so
Yes.
worth not engaging because
Yep.
even in the early days of 555, we were getting that all the time from just it's just craziness. And we're like, we're just trying to get people to work out
Yeah. Everyone wants to critique everything. It's
every
nuts.
little thing. Like, oh my God, that guy should like, oh, just let him work out. Let him go have his
Yes.
and it gives you this like, we all call them the keyboard warriors, but this silent
Hmm.
opinion that you feel like you can just say whatever you want.
Yep. Yep. And that's what's tough is because again, there's no someone in your face who's going to be like, "Hey, what the hell, man?" or "What's your problem?" It's just, well, I said it, and that's it. And that's where it's hard because, like you said, good and bad of social media. There's trolls, whatever, just people leaving dumb stuff, and I'm like, I always use social media for to get a laugh. I mean, even when it wasn't me, I was looking for it. I wanted to watch comedy stuff. You know, I was always a big Bill Burr and Tom Segura fan, so I'd look for comedy stuff to watch or dog videos that were funny. And I was like, oh wait, now I gotta follow. Like I can do this. This is cool. So at least people, even if it's a minute, some of the coolest comments, messages I've got is just someone like needed this today. You know, thanks
Yeah.
for this today. And I'm like, man, that's cool. You know, just that 1 minute of relief in your day because you watch these girls or me say something stupid or do something is very cool.
And that's it too. That for all the trolls and keyboard warriors and negative comments, all you need is that one positive, and you're like, "Yep, I'm
Yes.
gonna keep doing this, man. Let me keep
Yep.
rolling with this, and let me keep moving on because people are
Yep.
stupid, and that doesn't matter." So, if you know me and you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know I'm always looking for new ways to make myself #better than yesterday. Well, I came across a new way with an awesome company out of Canada called New Breath. I've been using their tub for cold exposure therapy for over a month now, and my body just seems to feel better and better each day. It's no secret that I love to work out, and I'm always sore, but taking a cold plunge each day has really changed that, for lack of a better term. Now, I'm still sore, I'm just not as sore. I spend about 10 minutes in the tub 3 to 5 days a week in as cold as I can get the water using some large ice blocks, and it's been great. My body feels better, my sleep numbers have increased, and the general resiliency, I guess you can say, has been great for me. Because getting in that water truly takes your breath away each and every time. You have to focus, you have to calm yourself, and you have to control your breathing to get into that Zen type state. So you can learn more about them by heading to their website, newbreath.ca, and save yourself some cash if you're looking to make a purchase of one of their tubs by using code THESIZEUP at checkout.
Yes. Yep, for sure. And even with like work, like we were, you know, not to revert back to the fire station ball busting, but like I said, when I first started this and started like it's so embarrassing to say, but like doing voiceovers of the dogs where I'm talking as the dogs, trust me, when you walk into the firehouse and guys are like, saw your new video, man. So dogs are talking now. You'll be like, yeah.
Dogs have
Oh, that's pretty
voices.
cool. Right. And then, but now as things have progressed, like, I mean, I get texts from guys all the time, dude. Oh my God, that new one was so funny. You know, we do a bunch of ones where Maya and Livy are having conversations and
Yep.
I just voice over with an edit. And guys are like, where do you come up with this? I go, I don't sleep. I go, that's where I come up with it. I go, I'll be laying there. I'll be like, you know, how would Maya and Livia discuss this? You know, I'll just sit there and then I think of it in my head. And I'm like, oh, it's 2 a.m. Okay, well, remember this tomorrow. So I'm trying hard to remember to try to actually edit it and then do it. But
That was
it's
actually one of my questions that I had for you. Was like, how do you come up with this stuff? But now I got it. You don't sleep, and
yeah,
that's what it is. Like,
I've always I actually just saw something the other day. Do you know who the comedian Matt Rife is?
I do not.
He's this guy blowing up on TikTok and all that, but stand-up comedian, super funny dude. And he put out something and he was talking about lack of sleep, said his creative mind like basically stops him. And I told my girlfriend, I go, look, I'm not alone. And I go, by no means am I Matt Rife. Okay, people, I'm not, just a small comparison. But to me, I'm like that, not only when I'm coming up with something, but I just let my mind wander at night so bad. I'm that guy that like if I hold the door for someone and they didn't say thank you,
You're dwelling on it.
yeah, I'm thinking about that at midnight. Like, man, that person, what does he go home to? You know,
What
just
a prick. I
yeah,
can.
it's just like
He doesn't have
racing.
dogs.
Right. So usually it's good because then when I come up with good stuff at night and so I have like I'll write stuff down, at least like little notes in my phone, like I remember this. This is a good idea, and then
But you hear so many business people that do that. I know I was doing it for a while when we were trying to grow the not for profit, where like I
mhm,
was waking up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, I've solved the problem that I had today. Let me write it down because I'm not gonna
yes,
remember it the next day. And
and
I
that's the
had
worst.
a notebook like this, like next to the bed for years.
See?
I was doing that. And I guess now I don't do that anymore. So either I don't have good ideas or, I'm just sleeping too well.
Or
So
you're remembering better because that's the worst when you wake
no,
up and you're like, I knew it last night. Like I knew it. What was it? And,
I'm 100% not remembering better. So I think it's just I'm sleeping better and the ideas are just not there anymore. The idea fairy has left me. Maybe it's that only happens in your 30s. So do it all now because when you hit your 40s,
Rush.
the idea fairy's moved on to someone with cat
Right.
videos or something.
Oh, yeah. One thing we won't touch. No cats.
No cats. I've had
I get
bad
people all the
experience. I've had a bad experience with cats.
So I'll let you go first, and then I'll do mine of cat experience. You
Oh,
got one?
I have a few. I have one that's like really bad.
Let
I
it
don't
rip.
talk
Let it
about it.
rip.
I
You
don't
don't.
know if
Oh,
I've
it's that bad.
ever.
You don't talk about it. Were you attacked like a
No,
cheetah?
I was attacked by a puma once. But that's actually not the worst. Like, yeah, this
How
cat
is that not the worst? The puma attack is not the worst.
the puma paw that came out from behind under the building we were trying to lift. Yeah, that isn't the worst,
What?
man. It had my sleeve. Oh, it was craziness. Yeah, big
Was
black
it a
cat.
kit? Was it like a kitten that didn't like you, and you were just like, man, this
It
guy
was the
doesn't want
cat
to be
we were
pet. I'm
trying to
mad at
save.
him.
On that one, we were trying to save the kitten, and the guy was like, "Yo, there's a big black cat down here. You guys should watch out." It was a puma. My partner and I both agree it was a puma. No, that's not my worst. My worst, see, I was, and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about cats with this guy because he's going to probably get me to tell the story because I don't rarely tell this one anymore.
See?
I used to be a dispatcher
Okay.
where I was a firefighter. I guess I should timestamp this too, being it's actually going to happen here. But and one morning, I picked up the 911 phone at like 6 o'clock in the morning after a night shift, and it was a woman screaming in like a broken, like Polish Lithuanian type accent that she was giving him his
Jest
medicine.
peccata.
Yeah, and he's not breathing, is what she said. And I'm like, all right, so here we go. Like CPR, dispatch, fire, EMS, PD, medics, me, ma'am. Is can you listen? Do you see his chest rising? Put your fingers on your hand on his chest. Like
I know where this is going.
the CPR was so good. The video has been cut or the audio has been cut and played at like American Heart Association award dinners because of
Oh
the
my god.
dispatcher giving appropriate CPR instructions to someone. And everybody got there, and I'm like, all right, ma'am, go let them in. Like, here they are. And I leave, and then it comes across on the radio that everybody was canceled. What do you mean cancel? Like, we don't cancel on. I just gave this woman CPR instructors. Like, it's either going to be a pronouncement or, a
Right.
CPR in progress. And it was a guy who I was really good friends with, and he came across like our non-recorded talk around channel to dispatch, and he's like, "Yeah, this was for a cat." And my heart dropped, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch." I literally went outside and stood on the double yellow line, and for a few seconds was like, if a car hits me,
Yep.
everyone will forget I just gave CPR instructions to a cat, and maybe I'll get away with this one, which clearly I've never been able to leave that.
Fluffy has flatlined and it's not coming back.
100%. Like, and this was like, they were like, and so then, obviously the jokes have flown, repetitively since then and to this day. I mean, in the beginning, it was horrible with the jokes. Were just like, we've been canceled by the cool cats of the first aid squad. And there was lots of meowing and purring.
Yeah. I was
Like,
just gonna say, I imagine lots of meows over the radio
lots of
for.
meows. The
Yeah.
next night, like, I had dispatchers from like other comm centers pranking us with thing. It was out of control. But when you listen back to the tape, like, because we all listened to it obviously
Yeah.
multiple times, everyone I know is like, bro, in the beginning she's like my cat, but like it was so
You can't
quick.
hear it.
Yeah, and like I usually like the phone wasn't probably right near my ear for just that little bit, and I just missed that one little thing that would have changed the course of that. So
For all you know, Meekat is some foreign name that you don't know. You're like, yeah, Mr. Meekat. Yeah, he's
he's in.
dead and we need to help him. Like,
See, I like you, man. No one ever tries to stand up for the dispatcher
I
on that.
got
No
you.
one tries
Yeah.
to stand up for me, but the funny guy on Instagram. So
See? But so cats, I'll say mine now, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
probably why I love dogs so much is my mom is a crazy cat lady. Shout out mom if you see this, okay? She worked for the APL, so she would always rescue cats and stuff. Now, in my opinion, Pip, cats are too many as soon as they become plural. So once it's over one, too many cats. My mom was rocking 8 to 10 minimum
Oh my gosh.
standard. So I lived at home with that till I was 26, and not like just like normal cats, like all the mutants, like the X-Men reject cats that no one wanted because like there was
No one
literally one with.
adopted from the shelter. Yeah.
Right. Like my mom would come home and be like, look, Harvey's going to stay with us. I go, well, what's wrong with Harvey? And turn him around. He's missing his face. Half of his face is gone. And she's like, no one wanted him. I'm like, yeah, I'd want a full cat too. I'm not paying full price for 75% of a cat that doesn't have a face. She's like, isn't he cute? I go, okay, to some, not to us. His food's falling out. There'd be one that would only come out at night. Like you'd only see him just eyes glowing. Like I'm 22 living at home, right? So I'm coming home late. I would like come in this little black cat. I'm like, tuned up from hanging out downtown. I just see like eyes just staring at me. I'm like, don't, dude. It's
Stay back.
like,
Stay
yeah,
back.
I love my mom, but I'll punch you, cat, if you attack me. So after 8 to 10 cats, it was like, yeah, dogs are pretty cool. Dogs are way
We're gonna get
better.
wrecked. We're gonna get wrecked by the cat people if they listen to this podcast. Like all
Oh,
you cat people out there, and I said it too there, but they're gonna wreck
yeah.
us.
Oh, and my mom, like, thankfully, credit mom. She's helped so many cats. It's all good hearted. She's rescued so many. She also is the one that like she'll take one for like 2 weeks and she'll be like, I had to put it down, and I'm like, God bless you, because even cats, no matter what it is, I'm like, I don't want to have to kill anything. So she's done a lot of good, but I was like, you just keep that good at your house and don't bring it over here. We're
Shout out,
good.
mom. Shout out,
Yeah,
mom. Girls
right.
probably don't get along with cats. They can't come over anyway.
I brought Maya over. That was my favorite thing. One of the first videos I posted too was Maya. I brought her over there. I'm like, I've been waiting for this. So I'm like, Mom, Maya was 7 weeks when I got her. I'm like, brought her over, and the one fat cat pawed her in the face, and Maya backed up, and I'm like, did I get a German Shepherd or what is this thing? I'm like, what are we doing being afraid of cats right now? But since then, yeah, now that they're bigger, no, they don't go to mom's house.
You
They
can't.
sit in the truck if we go by.
Too many cats for you two to
Yeah.
chase around and do whatever you could possibly do when you catch them. So, but that video too that my brother-in-law sent me, we kind of talked about it and glazed over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all in most, I would say, if you're a firefighter, have had a dog dropped off at the firehouse. I know I've had
Mm-hmm.
several in my career, and everybody's outside and they're playing with it, and they're trying to feed this dog, and we're like just waiting for animal control to come. And a few have actually, like, I know a few friend my department guys have taken, or we found someone that was like, oh, I know my buddy
Mm-hmm.
wants a dog. Like, here, cool, take this random pit we found here, and
Right.
it's your dog now once they scan it and get it checked out or whatever. But you made that video about it, and that video was epic. Like,
Dude, and it's funny because again, everything I do, I shouldn't say that. There's some obviously that I know, like, all right, I'm making the girls talk, and that's a video just for that. But most of my stuff that's been good, it's been just me with my phone taking it out, me talking with the dogs. And that one, like I said, the cops found this dog, and I came back into the bay floor, and the cops there with this dog. And he's like, "Hey, dog guy, now I'm the dog guy, like you said, right? I got that right. Like, hey, dog guy, why don't you do something with the dog, man? Like, hey." And I'm like, well, whose is it? Oh, it's a stray we found. I'm like, you guys are holding on to him? And they're like, yeah, we're just keeping them in a crate in the Sally port at the police. And I'm like, all right. I go, well, when we finish dinner, man, like, leave it open. I'm gonna come let him hang out with us and play with him. So I brought him out, and we were all just playing with him. He's hanging out with our shift and just hang again. We're in the trailer right now, so he's in the trailer in and out. And I was actually out on the bay floor with my buddy who was in on overtime, and he took a phone call, and I was sitting there with what the internet nicknamed him Blaze. We didn't have a nickname for him at
shocking.
the time, but right, I'm like, solid name. And I just literally walked out there, and I was like, all right, man, you want to walk around and see the trucks? And I'm just videoing and rattling off dumb stuff off the top of my head. And when I sat down, I showed my buddy like just a couple of videos I took, and he looked at me. He's like, you got to make a video of that. He goes, that's a dude, like, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I didn't think anything of it. Again, we just hung out with him for a few hours, and he went back with the cops. And the next day, I'm like, oh, I'll put this up. And that was one of, 8.3 million views or something on TikTok, like one of the highest views that we've gotten. And I was like, holy crap. And
I mean,
it
you had to
was,
make a part two. You had to make the follow up to say what happened to the
yeah.
dog, right?
Like, dude, I had people like, again, just like crazy cat people, there's crazy dog people. And they're like coming at me like, listen, we need an update. Who do we have to call to get this dog to be a firehouse dog? I'm like, all right, like, tone it down. Let's not form a rally for this. All right. The dog's good.
It has its own
Um,
Instagram page already. We've made one.
right. Well, then that's what people are asking. Like, where's Blaze's Instagram? You got to do. And I'm like, so what had happened to him was, I think it's the head of the service department or a building director. Guy saw him, he adopted him. So he had just lost a pit bull, perfect timing. He
Yeah.
took it in, and so it was awesome, right? And I'm like, heard that he took him, and I'm not close with the guy. I've never even met him face to face, but I get his number, and I'm like, hey, can you send me a few pictures? I'm like, this sounds really dumb, but the internet wants answers. And he's like, oh, I heard about the TikTok, great stuff. Here you go. Send me a couple pictures. So I was able to share with people, but they're like, yeah, what are they going to do? I'm like, the guy's like 60. You think he's going to make a TikTok tomorrow because you guys saw? I'm sorry, but it's not happening.
This is not a sitcom. This is just what
Yeah.
happens in my
I'm
life.
like,
Like, this is just my day to day, and the dog got
right.
adopted. So yeah,
Yes.
all is happy.
Yeah, right. It's a win. And it was funny because our chief did try afterwards. We had talked about making him a station dog, which would have been really cool, but he got adopted quick. And it would still be hectic right now with the trailer stuff, but it was on the table because everyone was rooting for that. Like he's got to be your station dog now, which would have been awesome. I mean, the only downfall, which this is the backstory behind Blaze, was again, we're living in a trailer. So everyone's like cool with me bringing the dog around. We're all playing. But I'm like, dude, jump on me. He's in the recliner. He's rolling around. He's sleeping on me, right? He's like not attacking, but playing with other guys, all that. And later that night, my buddy's girlfriend and kids came up to see him. They're like, oh, we want to see this dog. They come up, and his girlfriend's like, Brett, I think he's got fleas.
Oh,
I'm like, no, that's just what he does. He likes black spots. It's like pepper for him. It's not fleas. Don't worry about it. And she's like, Brett, that's fleas. So she looks down. Sure enough, he's got fleas.
oh.
I'm like, shit. So I got to go back into the trailer. And they're like, what are you doing with all this? I'm like, I'm just cleaning the recliner. Why are you cleaning the recliner? Well, I don't know. Maybe the dog has fleas. Maybe he doesn't. And they're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, hey, I had
It'd be
him
like
on
the
me,
cops set
okay?
us up. The cops didn't tell me that. They must have known it. They're the
Right?
enemy. Blame them.
I'm like, now we're really a trailer park. We got fleas in this. Like we're one meth lab away from living the dream. Like, what is going on here?
It is pretty amazing though that you are seeing this like resurgence of station dogs because of their calming ability. You know, like even my
Yeah,
kids in school, my kids in middle school, there's a pit that hangs out with the one of the counselors and
really.
goes to
That's
the
awesome.
like a therapy dog, like just to
Yeah,
and you know if the kids want to this, you know, because when it started, it was like they were going to introduce a dog in school, and if your child would not like to interact with the dog because of fear, like please fill out this
yeah.
Google sheet
Sign
form or
here.
whatever. Yeah, like or your child doesn't have to interact with it. Meanwhile, my boys are like, "Oh, the dog came to class today. It was awesome." Like,
Best day ever.
yeah,
Right?
like we hung out. It just likes being petted at recess, and
Yep,
it's the same as in the emergency services. Like a dog comes in the
for sure.
station, everybody's demeanor changes.
Yep. And I think so. Again, Gusta, foreign Lithuanian, everyone. Okay. My girlfriend, she's a nurse, right? So she deals with the same stuff we do, long shifts, seeing stuff that ain't normal. And we both say it all the time. The dogs are such a mental health relief. I'm like, to me, coming home from shift and having that morning coffee in the backyard with the dogs and just they're excited to meet you. They're so happy to see you again. I'm like, man, takes the edge off, just so helpful.
Does her hospital have a dog, like a therapy dog that comes in or no?
They, I
Or
don't, I think
looks
they
like
do
emergency.
like yeah, I think they bring in like every once in a while. She sent me a video like a couple weeks ago and she's like, so and so the therapy dog stopped by our floor, but she's on a cardiac ICU. So their patients are pretty out of it, but
Yeah.
they do have them, I think, down there, which I joked with her. I'm like, we should make Maya and Livia therapy dogs. She goes, you think people want German Shepherds running up and down the floor? I go, I would. I don't know. It could be
Maybe one
fun.
person would.
Yeah.
No, my wife's a physician assistant and she works in a hospital
Oh,
and
okay.
they have therapy dogs there all the time. It's attached to
Awesome.
a pediatric hospital, so there's almost always one there.
Oh,
Like it's
perfect.
like a she worked at one hospital for a while where it was one dog. It was always the same dog, but the one she's at now, I think they just rotate dogs through.
Yeah.
So is an
Huge.
easy way to put it. Yeah, but such a big
Yeah,
mentally, just that little bit of calm in a bad situation is just amazing.
for sure. And that's again to me like what you see with me is what you get. Like I'm not like faking love for dogs for views or anything. I'm like, this is just I go ask anyone I know, they'll be like, you want to do something? I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm gonna stay at home with the dog.
No,
Like, what are you doing? I'm in the backyard drinking beer or coffee with the dogs. I'm good. They're just peace, man. They bring so much joy and laugh, and it helps not only in everyone's life, but especially with us. I think in the stress that comes with the job at times.
yeah, it's just unconditional love. It's like having a baby,
Oh,
like where they're just
yeah,
unconditional. Like then they get older and they get. I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, you're lucky. Your kid doesn't have an opinion yet. Wait till they get an opinion, like, and then it all goes
that
downhill.
is
Especially when they get an opinion about you, or they're like my little wise asses that are just me. In well, I can't really call them mini anymore because they're about to be the same height as me, but like where the dog, it's just a dog. She's just always
yeah.
nice. Like
You
always just
can't get
wants to
mad at
go
the
along.
kids because you're like, wait, you just said what? Like, oh, that's what I would have said. Damn it. Mm.
Last night, my little guy wanted to scare my big guy while he was in the shower. And I kind of set myself up. I knew he was going to do it. I told him, I'm like, don't do that. Like, not while he's in the shower. And I knew he was going to not listen to me. So I had my wife, I like gave her the thing to turn the light off so it looked like I left. Dude, I scared the hell out of him last night. And he was like,
See how that feels?
it was such a good one, Dad. That was such a good one. I was like, yes. And like, I'm crying, laughing at him. But it's just those fun things. And you know what you're doing with the Instagram videos, it's not just with the dog though. So let's not the dogs. Let's not like leave out your girlfriend who seems to be the butt of a few of your videos as well, jokey.
So very much so, I'm blessed that she has a sense of humor, or else we wouldn't be together now almost 4 years. She can deal with my shenanigans and constant chaos. And again, I think any good relationship, I always say she's my best friend. You know, we have a great time doing anything from the simplest things to going out, whatever. But yeah, she can take the dumb things I say, constant jokes, scaring, anything like that. Like you said, similar stuff. She does it to me though. Like she'll scare me and then I'll get angry and she's like, "Why are you upset?" I'm like, "Because you scared me. What are you talking
She's got to
about?" Like,
video that. She's not videoing that to get you back for that. Like I would totally be like, I gotta get
she,
this back. Like the one in the car, like when she was driving was
oh, in Arizona, yeah, that was probably the best one. And
the
I
feet
actually
with the
felt
Twizzlers. I was like,
so. I want to say, if anyone the video Pip's talking about is, I made a video joking about how all women are in the car, right? And how they don't listen to directions, brake, brake, do
turn
this,
left,
that
turn
they're
left.
screaming, yeah, drinking. Like that's my girlfriend to a T. Like everywhere we go, she's like, "Can I bring a road pop?" I'm like, "No, you can't bring a road pop. You don't. We're going to the corner store. We're going to Applebee's. Like just one, just one." I'm like, No. Um, but yeah, that one when we were in Arizona, and finally we got this cool convertible Mustang. We're doing a cool ass road trip, and she hadn't drove yet. She's like, "I want to drive." I go, "You like don't feel obligated, but you want it?" She's like, "Yeah, I want to drive." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Good, I got an idea." She's like, "What?" I go, "I'm going to be you for the next 20 minutes." So I kid you not, everything that I filmed was within 20 minutes. I'm just berating her constantly, and she's like, you're doing that for a video, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yep, I'll have it edited by the time we get to our next destination. That's fine."
Just drive for 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
I'll have it edited and posted, and then I'll
yep,
take the wheel
we're
again.
good.
But it's so funny to see things like that. And like I love on social media too, the folks that set up, and I don't even know what their account is called, but like they shoot the balloon that falls on
Falls
them.
down.
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
couple of couples that are out there doing that. And I'm like, God, the amount of time these folks put into doing this.
And God bless them because they have aim. I'm like, if I tried to do that with Goose, I'd end up shooting an arrow in her forehead and I'd just be under investigation. Like there'd be no video. It's like we tried, but now she's got this mark here. What happened? Well, not an archer, honey. Sorry. Tried my best.
And then they got to clean it up. I'm like, God, then you got to clean up the mess you just made. Like, there's no way
Right?
you could do this. Like,
Not worth it. Like, I'm out.
they
But
probably have more views than you, though. So there is that end of it if they're looking for the views.
maybe. I got a few good ones. So I have now, I left too. I say this, like guys I work with, again, it's taken off where, yeah, I still get my balls busted, but they're like, "Wait, you're making money? You're doing this? Like, oh, that video is really funny." And so it's nothing but good stuff mainly that I get back from the guys at the fire station. Um, but now like their kids are seeing it. So like I got a buddy whose daughter is like 20 and he's like, "Dude," he just texted me there. He goes, "Dude, she won't leave me alone. She wants to know how to get TikTok famous. What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, tell her, you got to find a niche and stick with it and make relatable content." And he's like, "All right, that's what I told her." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know that. I guess the only good thing is I'm like, I'm living a 17-year-old girl's dream." I'm like, "That's it.
That's it.
That's
That's
something to
all
be
you
proud
got, man.
about."
You are a
Yeah.
certified TikTok expert in the fire service world, pretty much. At
Right.
this point.
I'm like, and I laugh because the only thing, I'm not spiteful with many things, but the one thing that makes me kind of happy is in my millennial type age group is there was a lot of girls that I know that just tried so hard, showing things they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like they were trying so hard to get popular, and they were just picture after out to brunch with my bitches and like this and all these catchphrases. And I know that they just hate me because they're like, "This stupid jerk put up a dog video. He's got a 400,000, 100,000 followers here. It's stupid."
I hated him in high school, and I
Right?
hate
Yeah.
him more now that he's
Oh,
TikTok famous, and I
I
can't.
I know it irks a few of them, and I'm like, it makes me so happy that I'm like, yeah, I didn't have to work as hard as you to try to get, like it just happened naturally, like I didn't
See,
force it.
You should have talked to me at the dance. You shouldn't have left me in the corner.
Right? Starting to look pretty cool now,
Oh my God. I think that's a great way to kind of start wrapping this one up around the hour mark.
huh?
This is what it's all about. I had no idea we'd go into this direction here, but I love every minute of it for sure.
Yeah, and it's been good. And again, that's like you said, tying everything all together. It started as nothing, but it's something simple to just put out videos. And um, again, we both know there's so much bad in social media. It's nice to try to be some sort of small positivity, or just doing something simple. And um, again, with a lot of crap out there that we all have to see, not only in work, but just in the real world, in this crazy
Yeah.
world.
And to be that
It's
honest with you,
nuts.
like I'd rather see when I'm scrolling my social media feed, I'd rather see pages like yours than when I go read the news, because
Right.
there are news sources that are there and I try not to follow that because I'm like, this is like my escape. This is
Yeah.
one of my places to be where I can keep up with friends and what their kids are doing and keep up with sports and things, but also like laugh my ass off at some stupid dog videos.
Right. Yep. And I think that's what everyone has, again, not necessarily dog videos, but a niche that they're looking for, whether they're watching some guy smoke meat for 6 hours. But like you said, it's relief, I go, there's a niche. And I still get guys who say that to me. Like a guy I work with too is like a mechanic type. He's like, dude, like I'm thinking about doing like videos where like I just fix stuff and I talk about it. I go, yeah, I go do it, dude. I'm like, I'm telling you, you think people wouldn't watch you fix your diesel truck? I'm like, without a doubt.
How do you think
Like,
I fix things in my house? I Google a
right?
video of it and I'm like, oh, this guy just did this. He has the
Yeah.
same exact. What do you think when the stupid sound
Power cord,
went
right?
down?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one's talking about this. I'm like, where is someone show me how to open this thing? There's got to be a button.
Right.
Like,
I had I had to search how to avoid hard rakes in my yard the other day, just now, so I'm prepared. Like that's the only way. They said to just use your eyes, which makes sense, but apparently I wasn't ready.
where can everybody find you before you get so famous and before you get the Netflix hour-long Netflix documentary show? Where
that
can they find you now? Let's go with that one.
that'd be a dream. So if anyone's looking on TikTok, our name is Dog Life with Brett. And then on Instagram, Laugh with Brett. And we're on Facebook now too. We're trying to do the Facebook thing. That's just my name, Brett Dugas. And we have YouTube, Laugh with Brett, but man, YouTube's a tough one to get into. That's
Uh,
a tough one to break into. But
you need a
we don't put
little,
up
you
long
probably need
videos.
more. Like, even though shorts are starting to become, YouTube
Yes.
shorts are big because my 11-year-old is all into YouTube shorts.
Hmm.
Um, but again, I don't know how the feed works. It's just one more thing you got to figure out, right?
Yeah, I've been able to get a video to pop off, so to speak, and get a million views plus on every app, but not YouTube. YouTube, just like you said, it's the longer type, someone watching how to fix something for five
Yeah.
minutes or whatever. But maybe one day, another avenue to try to conquer.
Listen, you got to get them out there because if you stop,
Yeah,
someone else is going to do it. So you may as well. And even
right.
on the Facebook end, reels are starting to become a bigger thing on
Mhm.
Facebook now too. So one
Yeah,
more addition for you.
yeah, absolutely. And Facebook's nice because the people I've talked to, I've reached out who are doing similar things. That's where there's good monetization, and they said it's easier to grow. So we're seeing growth pretty quick. So that's good too.
Which, see, you just said those words too again, monetization. Do not reach out to Brett for the secret of how to make money on social media. I will give you that much, unless, that's a whole nother business you could start too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so I will say this because I'm brutally honest with all of it. So for probably the first 2 years, well, it's been 2 years. So I'd say up until the past 4 months, about 18 months, didn't make nothing. Like a couple thousand. Probably I would say maybe 10 grand within that time period. If anyone's curious about the money aspect. And then some things changed with TikTok and how you could get paid for views and stuff. And now we finally are starting to make a good income.
It's
Thousands a
definitely
month.
it's definitely doable. It's just a matter of putting in that time and
Yes.
continuing to put in that time and to keep up with what's relevant and to keep your content the same. You know what I mean? I think
Yes.
that's a big end of it too for you.
Right.
Like, if all of
Yep.
a sudden you
And
want to talk politics, probably not going to monetize that.
right. Yeah. And that's the my avenue of it's dog funny stuff while also incorporating my own jokes or stories or things like that. But like you said, you can't get too far this way or that way of like, hey, what's this guy showing? Like I didn't come here for that. You just gotta know your lane, so to speak. But I think it's doable for anyone who has a niche or wants to do it. I mean, it can be very fun if you're doing what you actually like to do.
It's awesome. And see, we made you the star of this. Is going to go on YouTube on the National Fire Radio YouTube channel. And girls, you missed your chance for YouTube back there because now,
Hey,
oh, there she is.
I'll
There
see.
she,
Look
we
how
say
easy. Look
girls, and
how
like she's like, what? Oh,
easy to
you got
wake
a
up.
treat. Here they are.
Hey, you can come. We come closer. Sit. See, I like to show too. They actually are trained internet. Okay, I just show the training stuff isn't funny. No one wants to see a dog sit for a treat. They want them running around and chaotic.
And
Come
talking
on,
and sticking their ears up
yeah,
like that.
right,
That's it. Like
right,
they really want the internet wants the dogs talking because right now anyone in their car is like, I can't see what's happening. These guys are idiots on their little show.
right. If you're missing out, you got to check out the actual on YouTube. Right,
You do
you
so
watch us.
as long as we don't have the same issue we had with Tracy's with the recording and the Tracy's episode basically looks like bad 1980s kung fu movies where our lips don't match our voice for some strange reason.
Really?
Yeah. So there are going to be some funny outtakes coming from that though, because
Well, at least you got something right extra out of it.
and it is truly like it's called not a marriage podcast, but we like argue because we're a married couple and that's what we do. Like we wouldn't be us
Yeah.
if we weren't arguing. It would be totally fake.
And I
So
will say this before you end to Pip too, that I think it's cool that I didn't know your wife is a PA, but I think in what we do, having someone who's in that same field, man, right? Like I say it to Goose all the time. I'm like, it's just so nice that when you want to talk, they can understand. But at the same time, she gets home from a 12-hour shift and she's like, showers, hey, you good? Yeah, I just want to go to bed and not sit. And I'm the same way,
and you understand why.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Give you a kiss and do your thing. Go on social media or turn on a movie and escape from whatever happened today. I'll be here when you need me.
Yep. And here I'll do some self promotion. Episode 38 with Tracy. We talk a lot about our marriage. The real topic is that she is in palliative care, and we talk about the types of
That's
palliative
tough.
care and part of the reason why we all as emergency responders and we as just people need to sort of be prepared to die.
Yeah.
Because she deals with so many people who are not, and there's a lot of things that you don't even know about. I didn't know about.
No?
Tracy started working in palliative care, but we have that bond back and forth. And I even talk about it in that episode where she was really bringing too much home. And it got to a point where I'm like, hon, you can't bring every case home to me. I can't
Right.
listen. You can process these people dying all day. I'm like, I can't. I cannot
Yep.
process these stories, one or two a night, and that's about all I can handle.
And God bless her, because I say this to Goose all the time too. Why I have the most respect for nurses is our job, or paramedics, as terrible as it is what we see, it's brief. There's no background. I mean, we get you're talking to someone, they have the heart attack and they die. Terrible. Sucks. You think about that forever. But I don't know their backstory, where their kids went. I don't know, what job they did for 40 years. When you make that more connection, that's when, man, tough to bring home.
You could be in like your girlfriend's in a cardiac ICU. She's with these
Mhm.
people for sometimes months and their
Yep.
family, and their family becomes friends with the people that work in the hospital. And,
Right.
it's just a totally different level to process these things.
For
And it's
sure.
something just like in the fire service, no one tells you in nursing school how this is going to happen mentally to you.
Right.
We are doing a better job preparing in the fire service, at least, the recruits for, you need to talk about these things. You need
Yep.
to, get more involved in these things. But it's the same type of thing where, they make bonds with these people. And again, Tracy's telling me the stories and I'm like, I don't want to hear about their 800
Right.
grandkids that you
Yeah.
cycled through the room all like, no, please, no. And then like each story or whatever, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm really
Yeah.
good. Like tell the dog, she'll listen to you.
Right. And that's the funniest because we do that, but then at the same time, she's like, "You want to think I want to hear about your BS drama from the fire station yesterday?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting if you want to hear the whole thing."
Listen, wait until you're 20 years in, and she's just like, yeah. And then this guy did this, and then this guy did this, and I'm like, oh, clearly you know about my day already, so I don't
Yeah.
even
Right.
worry about it. Or like, oh, and then this happened this way. I'm like, I'm not even telling you the story because you already know what happened. So
Yeah.
thanks
Well,
for
and again,
ruining it.
man, I got the respect for you too because you're doing the fitness thing, and I think along with the mental health stuff that we've talked about. Not that I'm doing any proponent of it, but I think that too, right? Because what's the two number one killers of us, right? It's heart attacks and suicide in the fire service. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think, and it's like,
Yes, and cancer rates in there too. So
yeah,
it's a circle of, you know what I
right,
mean? It's just overall it's health and wellness, right? We
yeah,
all have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of each other. And part of taking care of yourself is the fitness end of it because you just can't not easiest way
right,
to put it at this point. Like I'm not
yep.
telling you how to fitness, I'm just telling you you should fitness.
Right. And again, like you probably have the same expectation I do. No one's expecting anyone to be a track star or a bodybuilder or the world's strongest man. But to me, the most, again, people who are in the service, they'll know, clean shaven, uniform tucked in. This is how we're supposed to look presentable. Well, the most unpresentable thing to me is the sloppy guy who's out of breath on a medic call because he can't walk up a flight of stairs. Like that to me is professionalism of looking the part, right? I mean, we signed up for this.
When I
So
was in my teaching days, I was doing a lot in EMS, and I'm like, I can't stand it when my partner is talking to the patient about their 7 stents that they got, or like they're comparing their diabetic meds, and I'm like, or like,
right.
they're complaining about the emphysemic patient at 3 a.m. that's 900 years old, but spent their whole life smoking, and they're complaining about going on that call, and then I walk out to the ambulance and they're smoking a cigarette, and I'm
Right.
like,
It's the same guys who like try to like we got to train, we got to do this. I go literally, you getting out of the recliner, you get out of breath. Like that's training for you. What are you going to try to talk to me about it? Like again, you got to walk the walk to talk the talk, and
it,
an
man, that is
important,
it. Dude, I
But
love it, man. And now we're over, and I don't really care because we're 10 minutes over the hour
well,
that
my
we.
fault.
No, 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 it's okay. But there really is no time limit. It's just we found
Yeah,
the sweet spot is like right, just like you found the sweet spot probably for your video.
yeah,
The sweet spot for us is like an hour, but we're definitely gonna have to talk more about this. And it's the thing again that I love about this show and having this platform is I can meet total stranger, slid into
yeah.
his DMs. Like, I made the joke when we were coming up with 555, like I meet a lot of dudes online and a couple of chicks is the easiest way to put it. In the fire service, it's a lot of dudes and a couple of chicks. I've been fortunate that the couple of chicks I met were definitely on the more attractive side of life and
Yeah.
totally cool. Like they're even attractive doesn't matter. Just the most amazing girls and guys ever. But yeah, that was always my joke. Like meet a lot of dudes online. So now
See, I meet women. My girlfriend Goose will always say to me, she'll be like, "Are you gonna leave when you get TikTok famous? Are you gonna leave me for some random girl?" I go, "For what? The 45-year-old single mom who has 3 dogs who follows me?" I go, "That's my clientele. Okay, that's my
that's my jam. I'm not
demographic.
leaving
Is
you, baby.
that like?" I'm like, "You have nothing to worry about." I go, "We're good, honey. Love you."
Yeah, but if they have a big Instagram following and you have a big Instagram following, you could double the bucks and you gotta tell her to get on, man.
And again, I'm blessed with her because like her sister or like friends will be like, wait, who's this girl? Who's this he talking to? And like, or he put up this, and Goose is like, you should take your shirt off and go run around with the dogs. If it gets us, if we get up there and then mama doesn't have to work, she's psyched, like
Get out there. Get out there.
that's
Like
every day. Are we TikTok famous enough where I don't have to work? And I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. How come you get a quit before I get a quit? I go, I'm confused on that, honey. I go, I must be missing something.
are you big in she's from Lithuania, right? You said? Are you
Yep.
big in Lithuania? I'm just curious now as we keep talking.
So, I don't think so. I'd have to look at it. I'd be lucky if I have her family following me. I probably got her grandma. I got Macheta, how you say, grandma Lithuanian. She's over there, maybe watching the videos. But they moved over here when they were young, so they still got some family and stuff back
Oh,
there.
gotcha. Oh,
But
man. See, I thought you have a whole different audience. But all right, man, here we go. Let's get to the size up 10 here because everybody's
let's
like
do it.
waiting for this. So here we go. 10 quick questions that never go quick. Beach or mountains?
Ooh, mountains.
Night out or night in?
Oh, night in.
A good book or a good movie?
I'm going movie because I can probably laugh from it. A good comedy.
True story there. Cross country road trip. Who is your celebrity co-pilot?
All right. I feel like this is going to be a general one that people are going to be like, really? I have two. Can I say two?
You can
Am I
say,
breaking the
you can
rule?
say whatever you want, man. There's really no rules here.
I'd go Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Just seems like a super cool dude, right? Like,
Sure.
not only funny, but just like, I'd be like, this guy's chill, man. Like, we could
Just
talk
wrote a
about
kid's
whatever.
book. He just wrote a kid's book.
Yeah. Yeah, wrote a kid's book. He had his Green Lights book, which I read was a great book, and always loved his acting. So I'm like, he'd be cool.
The boys and I just watched Fool's Gold the other night. I'm like, boys, you got to watch this movie. It's epic. And
Like even that, a rom com, he makes it good, right? It's
yeah.
even entertaining to me and you. And then the other one would be Kip Moore. He's my favorite country music artist. I've kind of always followed him. And same thing, just cool, genuine dude who I feel like I'd click with and be able
You'd have to
to
bring a
converse.
guitar though.
Yeah, which I can't sing. He'd be like, dude, why don't we just listen to the radio, man?
Stick to
Oh,
the
by the
dog.
way,
Stick to the dog.
I just realized that Goose is going to watch this and be like, why didn't you pick me?
I said celebrity. Celebrity.
Oh, thank God. Okay,
See,
good.
yeah. So the question initially was, I didn't have celebrity in there, and then everybody's like, "Well, I gotta pick my wife or my," and they're like trying, and I'm like, "Yo, you realize you just said it that way?
Right.
Like you literally said it that way."
Go Maya, Livia, Gusta in that order. Just kidding, honey. Just kidding.
So we changed it to celebrity because the Size Up by National Fire Radio does not want to be responsible for divorces. So we went celebrity.
We're
See,
breaking relationships.
I can
yeah.
make too, just
Amen.
not media. All right. Do you make your bed every day?
No.
Thanks for being honest. I appreciate it.
But I will say that I make it, yeah, not every day. There's some days I do. I usually don't make it. I'm not the morning person. Like my brother used to be like that, where he'd flip it over. I'm like, dude, I got coffee. I got to go.
$1 million right now, or go back to 18 with a redo?
That's a good question, Phil.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I would say I would take the million, and here's why: because I'm happy and content with everything around me as far as Gusta and the dogs in the house. But damn, 18, you throw $1,000 in Tesla and Amazon, and I got way more than $1 million sitting here, and I would have started putting dog videos up in, 13 years ago.
You're in. Nobody would you be. You would be a game changer. But I like the answer. Just taking the money now. So
yeah,
highways or back roads?
Back roads every time. Every time.
Bucket list place to visit.
So again, I said I was from Canada, and I moved there when I was 10. So I didn't appreciate the beauty of the mountains and stuff. British Columbia is where we grew up. So I went back once when I was 14, but still too young to appreciate it. I would love to go back there and see the mountains and show Gusta, like where we grew up and the lakes there and just the beauty of Banff National Park, all that stuff. Gorgeous.
Wow. A bucket list Canada. Never thought.
Right?
Never thought I'd get that as
rare.
Very rare.
Where do you want to go? I don't know. Canada. She's gonna yell at me for that answer. Like,
you are
definitely said New Zealand.
Yeah, you're definitely in trouble for that answer. Like, Bora, you fool! He said, "Bucket. Right. It's not a place we could walk to."
Or worse, she's gonna text me and be like, "So that means we can go to Banff like next spring?" And I'm like, shit,
you're screwing yourself. All right, this could be the hardest one. Number 9 here: football or football.
So this is where I'm going to lose anyone who did like me from this. I'm not a soccer guy at all. Like, I think any sport that ends 0-0 is hard for me. So definitely football.
Ted Lasso.
But I'm basketball first. I enjoy basketball and then American football. Just because I never played in high school, but I always played with friends in my mid-20s. So I think playing it, you enjoy watching something that you can play. But
see, I'm like the exact opposite. I can't stand basketball, but I think it's the height thing and all that. So
right. Which is fair. Again, I'm like, I sure as hell can't kick a ball, so I'm not watching soccer. No way.
My basketball career ended in like the 5th grade when everybody else grew, and I didn't. Just couldn't.
Like, so I won't be dunking then? No, coach.
Listen, I got mad ups, man. I can grab the net. I'm pretty proud of my little short set for ups,
and that's good because I'm the opposite. I mean, not tall. I'm 6'1", but I'm like, my ass can barely grab it because I got little white boy hops that can barely get 10 inches off the ground. Like, it's embarrassing with my noodle legs. Tough.
Dude, leg day is every day, son, and you get mad ups.
I've skipped a lot of leg days. I'm not gonna lie.
By far the longest size up 10 that I've done thus far, and this is the longest podcast now. So you have that as your like the
thing is, I'm gonna say people are gonna make it to here. I think it's gonna be one of the popular ones. Hopefully,
this is gonna be it. This is gonna like.
I think so. Yes, Friday the 13th. We had to wait 2 weeks. It worked out.
Totally. All right. Last question here. Best advice you could give to your younger self?
I would say let go of stuff and follow your heart. As lame as that sounds, like I wish if I could go back, even doing the social media thing now. I don't think at the right time. I'm blessed with it now, especially with the girlfriend and two of my best buddies, George, Brandon, um, who even in the social media stuff have supported this, 100%. Even when it was the beginning, when guys were like, "Okay, dude, whatever, cool," and Gusta and stuff, who was like, "Man, you really enjoy this? Like, you could make something of this." So if I could go back, I think I would have. Not that I haven't enjoyed the fire service, but pursued this earlier because this is what truly brings purpose in my head and makes me happy. I feel like I'm doing something. So I think at a young age we're so put into go to college, go to this, get a job, have a family, have a kid, die. As brutal as that sounds, but sometimes people got to follow and just take a risk. So I think if I'd go back, I'd take more of a risk and just go for it, so to speak. Not that there still isn't a chance to take a risk, but a little older.
But it's good too to know like that. That's how you're feeling, right? And that's how you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
this. And you're very happy and very content. But hey, let's keep taking those risks and pushing it forward. Listen, I feel like I'm the same way in a way where like I had some chances to move early on and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, everything worked out great, right?
Yep.
Everything from I have no complaints at all. But man, if I would have taken that risk and moved, who knows how it could have worked out, you know?
Right. Yep. And then, like you said, even with that question of going back to 18 or $1 million, man, you go back. But like you said, you're happy with your family and kids. I'm sitting here, I'm perfectly more than happy with the girlfriend, the house, dogs.
That's not what I said now. That's not what I said.
Oh, sorry, honey. He said it, not me.
Listen, Brett, man, this has been well worth the 2 week wait to get this episode on the books, man. I appreciate you and everything you're doing. I'm excited to keep following your journey on Instagram and on
Thank you.
TikTok, of course, though.
Well, either way, we appreciate it. Again, everyone's got their choice of which app they're going to use. So I don't blame you for not being on the TikTok. Your kids can,
My kids probably follow you on.
they can do enough of it.
My brother-in-law
See,
sent the same video to them, so they probably follow you on TikTok. So I have a whole
see,
TikTok story with my son, but we can save that for part 2 of this episode.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but
Well,
listen,
again,
everybody.
man,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's funny. I've been talking forever about wanting to get on a podcast and do something that I've talked about pursuing too. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and get my feet wet, so to speak, and talking to someone. And this was well worth the wait too, man. So cheers.
Sweet, sweet. So thank you again, Brett, and thank you to everybody for listening. I know we went a little over, so if your commute is that 1 hour commute, and hopefully you tuned back in on your commute home to catch these next like 20 minutes or so that we've just been two dudes babbling and laughing a lot. This has definitely been a lot of fun. I want to thank all the sponsors as per the norm. Our friends up in Canada, actually New Breath, Canadian company
Cheers.
that I've been working with doing my cold immersion plunges. Also, our friends over at Notorious Fire and Ridgeway Leatherworks, as always, for supporting the podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, this is October. I have a breast cancer awareness shirt on from the folks over at the Yard Foundation. You can check them out. It's pretty cool. For every 33 of these T-shirts they sell, they're able to offer a mammogram for a woman, which is pretty cool. I always like supporting, a different cause every October, and this is one that I feel like anything where there's direct correlation, you buy this is how many we sell, and this is what we can do. So a very cool firefighter shirt. Check them out, the Yard Foundation. As always, this is Pip for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, and we'll catch you next time.